Governor DeSantis is going after Disney.
Well, new developments tonight in the fight between Governor DeSantis and Disney.
This morning, Republican Governor Ron DeSantis escalating his fight against the house that Mickey built.
The ongoing dispute between Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and Disney.
Governor Ron DeSantis' ongoing feud with Disney.
The beef between Ron DeSantis and Disney started with a law called the Florida Parental Rights and Education Act. This law was labeled by opponents as the Don't Say Gay law,
also known as the Don't Say Gay law.
After months of heated protests in Florida, a feud between the governor and the Walt Disney Company, and a pending federal lawsuit, the Parental Rights and Education Bill, referred to by critics as Don't Say Gay.
A controversial new law went into effect in Florida this week, coined by opponents as the Don't Say Gay bill.
Remember the Ice Bucket Challenge? Well, this law basically throws ice water on even discussing sexual orientation in schools. Before you get mad and say, "This dude is biased," talking about me, hear me out. Now, if you know what this law is about, feel free to skip this part of the video. But if you don't, or have some questions, listen, because it's an important part of the story. This law has 4 parts. First, you can't discuss anything that has to do with sexual orientation or gender identity in any public school between kindergarten through 3rd grade. That seems to make sense. Second, you can't discuss anything about sexual orientation or any gender in any grade if that discussion is deemed to be against state standards. Let me repeat, any grade that is deemed to be against state standards. This sounds reasonable on the surface, right? Well, hear me out, because that's the genius of this law. Third, if a kid tells a teacher or any public school officials anything about their gender identity or sexual orientation, they are compelled by law to tell their parents. There are no exceptions to this rule. Fourth, any parent can sue a school on the grounds that they are breaking any of the previously stated 3 conditions. Let me repeat, they can sue the school itself, not the state, not the county. The school must cover the cost of any lawsuit or anything arising from the lawsuit. So let's put this all together. The first part is cool, I think, by most people. You can't talk to little kids about sexual orientation. Okay, fine. What sexual orientation are you, Jimmy? What sex? All right, maybe too early. The second part is where it gets dicey, because you can't talk about sexual orientation or gender identity in any grade that's deemed to be against school standards. Well, who writes the state standards? Is it the superintendent, the school board, the Department of Education?
Now, several months after Governor DeSantis signed the bill, many details remain unanswered. The Florida Department of Education noting that it's still working to develop age-appropriate rules for students in older grades.
But what this bill actually says is it in essence regulates school lessons on gender identity and sexual orientation from kindergarten to 3rd grade, or in higher grades if they are not age appropriate according to state standards that are going to be written and clarified by the Florida Department of Education by next June.
And what are those standards? And if I'm a teacher, how am I notified? And am I liable even if I'm not notified? What's the process? So if I'm a teacher, now I'm scared. Because how do I know if I violated some standard set by some party? Most teachers can't afford legal liability. Lawyers are expensive. Teachers don't make much money. And most people, have kids to feed. So if I'm a teacher, I'm going to shut up. Next, if a kid comes out of the closet to me as a teacher or admits sexual/gender confusion, I have to tell that kid to shut the heck up. Why? Because what if that child's parents are physically abusive or religious fundamentalists or just homophobic or transphobic or whatever? I have to legally inform them of this communication. But I don't want this kid to get hurt. So now I've got to tell the kid, be quiet. Don't talk to me because I have to tell your parents if you say anything. It effectively forces a confused child back into the darkness with their confusion and could lead to self-harm, or worse. Finally, they put in a mechanism to make sure the administration enforces this de facto law of silence. If I'm a principal or a superintendent at a school, I have a school budget to look after. If I may get sued, I may not be able to afford lunch for hungry kids or buses to get them to and from school. So am I going to risk allowing some teacher, any teacher, to discuss risky topics and endanger my school's budget? No freaking way. I'm sorry that Tommy might be gay, but I've got 200 kids per day to feed. The law on paper sounds innocuous. But put it together, it effectively silences communication through the threat of parental lawsuit and school district level responsibility. It basically forces kids who might be gay or gender non-binary back into the closet. Thus, don't say gay. Signing off. Peace. Hey, if you like this video, please smash that like button and hit subscribe. We would love to see you again. So take it easy. Peace. This video is sponsored by paulineslist.org. Pauline's List is the #1 site in news discovery. You want to search for news? Go to Google. You want recommendations for news? Go to Yahoo. But if you want to discover news, discover what's actually new, go to paulineslist.org. That's paulineslist.org, where you can browse all the headlines, save articles for later, and use your own intelligence, not artificial intelligence, to decide what you want to read. That's paulineslist.org. Signing off. Peace. Hey, if you like this video, please smash that like button and hit subscribe. We would love to see you again. So take it easy. Peace.